Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New coming at you bright and early on this Thursday morning. First and foremost, as always, just want to send out positive vibes and positive energies and vibrations to everyone who may be listening this morning. Got a few things we need to touch on this morning. So, of course, it was an eventful day in the association yesterday. As we all know, the playoffs are fully underway. And the Washington Wizards wasn't much to talk about game-wise last night, nor did we think it would be, knowing who they would be facing coming into the first round of this series, that it wouldn't be much of a series. As a matter of fact, both of the Eastern Conference high-seeded series, 1-8, 2-7 matchups are not much a series. And that was to be expected for the most part, which kind of shows you more so the depth right now of the Western Conference as far as how you see those series playing out, which we'll touch on that in just a moment, as far as the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant and the way he performed on yesterday. But back to what I was saying, as we all know, Russell Westbrook was leaving the court following the injury to his ankle when the fan dumped popcorn on him, and it took quite a few people to restrain Russell Westbrook. And you hear some of the commentators and people say, well, his emotions were flaring because he had just hurt his ankle. And listen, I don't care about emotions flaring. That does not matter. And Russ said it after the game, but I say it as well. And it's not a street situation. It's not any of that. It's just like in any situation. Like if I am at the doctor's office, if I am at the bus stop, if I'm at work, if I'm at church, if I'm anywhere and somebody just come up to me and dump some popcorn on my head, then 9 times out of 10, you better have a damn good explanation for why you chose to do such a thing, or you're gonna have to pay and suffer the consequence for it, which could mean an eye swollen or a damn mollywhopping. So it just depends on the whole situation. But at the end of the day, don't disrespect another person. I mean, that's childish. Don't disrespect another person. And they said the fan was escorted out of the arena, but at the end of the day, that fan needs to be prosecuted. And that's the only way that we can stop these fans from doing these things, because that was just a popcorn. Well, it could have been a battery. Well, it could have been anything. You know, you never know what somebody might want to do. And that is Philly. And I heard back in the day, and I don't know if it's true, but you know, they've been known to tossing things at NFL games to injure people. They've been known to do that. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I did hear about that years ago. But at the end of the day, thank goodness Russell Westbrook didn't go into the stands, because with the way he was feeling, I don't think that fan would have too much stood a chance. We all remember what happened at the melee at the Palace, which was not a good thing overall for the league, and that's something the league wants to prevent. And I think the best way for the league to do that is to show that they are trying to protect the players, as well as sending a message to the fans that that type of behavior will not and cannot be tolerated. So, you know, I've been to quite a few NBA games in my life, and, you know, some playoff games, and I've witnessed some things, you know, that you know, fans get a little bit full of that oil, so to speak, and start drinking a little bit too much, and some people just don't know how to handle their liquor, you know. But you know, sometimes enough is enough, and a person would only tolerate so much. So moving on from that, because that wasn't much of a game, so I don't want to focus on that too much. But there was a game last night that was very interesting, and we all know the Memphis Grizzlies was taking on the Utah Jazz, and I believe Kendrick Perkins was one of the people who was jumping on the Memphis Grizzlies bandwagon. While I have been singing the praises of the Grizzlies all year long, even though they have been a back and forth team, because they are the second youngest team in the NBA. But with the performance that Ja Morant had last night, I'm really thinking that is going to make people start giving Memphis the recognition and the credit that they deserve, because a lot of the talking heads were saying, well, as soon as Donovan Mitchell gets back, it's over for Memphis. And Donovan Mitchell had a great game, but at the end of the day, that was not the reason why the Memphis Grizzlies lost that game. They had to claw and scratch their way back into the game for the most part, because in the first quarter, Dillon Brooks got into very early foul trouble, and Valanciunas got into very early foul trouble. And when you take them off of the floor, Valanciunas is, first of all, the highest plus-minus guy on the team because of what he gives you in the paint, his tenacity on the boards as far as rebounding and giving the Memphis Grizzlies extra opportunities is something that he is very good at, and he's capable of scoring in the paint. And not only that, Dillon Brooks, and everybody's saying it, I've been saying it, and go back and watch from earlier in the year when I was saying that Dillon Brooks reminded me on the defensive end so much of Tony Allen. And people told me, man, Dillon Brooks is not like Tony Allen. I said, Dillon Brooks on the defensive end gives you the heart and the fight and the champion of a Tony Allen, but he actually can play offense. And you can see that as the way he's been putting up the numbers and how he was so effective in guarding Steph Curry. So at the end of the day, y'all, the Memphis Grizzlies, when they head back to the grindhouse, it's going to be a different story. I'm not saying that they're going to win the series because I think the Jazz just have too much outside shooting. But I will give the Memphis Grizzlies a puncher's chance only because of players like Dillon Brooks, with the way they have a heart of a champion as far as the defensive tenacity that he goes after players with. But one thing that Dillon Brooks what he has to do is stop getting into foul trouble sometimes, and that's something Tony Allen used to do too. He just played sometimes too aggressively on defense. Know how much you mean to your team, and the number one thing is availability. So with that being said, you need to make yourself available on the floor. And speaking of defensive tenacity, we have a Aaron Gordon matchup with Damian Lillard tonight that I think is going to be very, very interesting because, as we all know, Damian Lillard was shooting the lights out right before the end of the first half the other night. It looked like he was going to have one of those Steph Curry-like performances where he's going to put up at least 50 or maybe even come close to 60 the way he was shooting the basketball. But then next thing you know, at the end of the day, Aaron Gordon said, I want to take on the challenge of guarding him in the second half. And we all know in the second half, Damian Lillard only went, I believe it was 2 for 9 in the second half with Aaron Gordon guarding him. So he definitely made an impact and put his print on the game as far as, being able to shut down Damian Lillard. And if the Nuggets choose to go with this direction again and, want to, if the Nuggets choose to go in this same direction and do this again for the entirety of the game, then I feel like the Nuggets are definitely going to take control of this series, especially Jokic having the performance that he has, because there's really no response for him. So at the end of the day, a lot of times with these series, when they are 1-1 like that, whoever can win that pivotal third game usually goes on to win the series. So, I'm not always big on analytics, but like I always say, men lie, women lie, and numbers don't lie. But I mean, we have seen people come back down from 3-1, and Denver is one of those teams because they did that against, what's that team name? I'll be forgetting. They play in LA. It's not the Lakers. Can't remember. There's Luka's stepchildren. They on the team. Oh, Kawhi and playoff P. But anyway, not going to focus too much on them. But like I said, that's going to be an interesting series. And it's a crying shame, y'all. It is a crying shame that, once again, we cannot find a way. And give the players more rest. Stretch the games out. I mean, damn. Why are we having 2 games on at one time yet again? 2 games on one time yet again, and this time 2 very good games, just like last time. Dallas and the Clippers were on when LA was on, and now the Lakers will be playing again tonight. And at the same time, that's when Portland and Denver will be playing as well. So I hate that's going to be like that, but Milwaukee will be playing Miami in the first game while no other game is being broadcast simultaneously. And I just feel like Milwaukee, they could have ducked out of that series with Miami, but they didn't. They were not scared, and the way Milwaukee is playing, I'm telling you what, I just feel like they are going to take control of that series. Even though we starting to have a home court advantage now, I just feel like Miami home court is not going to be enough to have the Milwaukee Bucks lose again, to lose tonight for the first time in this series. They're going to go up 3-0, and Giannis is going to be wanting his rest. So I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to go ahead and take care of business, and then after that, the Lakers will be on tonight. So we know with the Lakers, Chris Paul doesn't seem to be himself, and that is truly unfortunate, because a lot of people are going to say, well, if Chris Paul would have been healthy, they would have won the series. But, you know, like everybody, great granddaddy always said, if was a fifth, then everybody all be drunk. But if not a fifth, you understand what I'm saying? So, you know, it's very unfortunate, and I do hate that. But at the end of the day, you just got to lace them up and keep playing, regardless of the fact. So, you know, either way, I still say Lakers in 5. They lost the first game last year and then won the next 4. I believe they did the same with Houston, if I am not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that was the case as well. But at the end of the day, I just feel like as long as Marc Gasol, they keep that same rotation, and I'm not saying Montrezl Harrell shouldn't get minutes. He should definitely get minutes, but I think he should get minutes more so in the 4 situation when you have Sarge on the floor and you can have him and Mark in at the same time at the case, if it calls for that. Because I tell you what, Kyle Kuzma, he has not showed up at all in this series. He is playing pretty good defense when he is in the game and guarding Crowder. He's closing out to the ball effectively, so he's doing what he needs to do on the defensive end, even though he's not crashing the glass the way he has been doing for most of the year. But you don't want to bench him now and have him lose confidence going into the further rounds, because you will need him to step up at some point because of his three-point shooting capability. But at the end of the day, I'm a bigger fan of THT than I am of Kyle Kuzma, that's for sure. So anyway, I think the Lakers are going to really take control of the series tonight. That atmosphere, first time for the Lakers in the playoffs since 2013 for 8 years, then that crowd is going to really be going at the Staples Center tonight. And for sure, you know that the Lakers are going to go up on the series 2-1. So if you got, you know, if you want to place a bet on it, I haven't looked at the line yet, but, you know, I would just take the straight up, no matter what the payments was, because I just cannot see any kind of situation to where the Lakers are going to fall at home. Although they have not had the best home record this year, even though it didn't matter because at home there was no fans for the majority of the year, and it was a lot of different variables that LeBron and AD missed a lot of time. So at the end of the day, that won't matter because the fans will be in full effect tonight, and so will the Lakers' victory. So at the end of the day, you already know what's going to happen. The Lakers will go up 2-1. I'm pretty much sure, even though Portland has a great home crowd, and I think they recently are letting people in their crowd. I don't know how big their crowd would be, but they had a high COVID area and very much restrictions. I know because I took a trip up to the Great Northwest, I want to say back in February. I was up in the Seattle area and had a chance to visit Portland for just a short moment. But at the end of the day, I still say Denver will win just to take control and win the home court back in that series. So if you want to take a parlay or have a chance to take the straight up on these games, then of course in all the straight up games, you should take Milwaukee, LA, and Denver. I'll look at the spread later, might come back at you later on, but things been kind of hectic. I will do my best. But anyway, as always, y'all, right on to the real, and much love to y'all haters. I'm about. Peace.